Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the On Time On Target Morning Brief, where we invest in fighter pilot precision on a daily basis. Uh, Exciting news for the day, on several different accounts. So I'll just make some general announcements. First of all, the first half of the year has closed as far as the market, and I don't have the exact numbers, but obviously the market did very well. We had stimulus. We've kind of defeated COVID. At least enough for the economy to open back up, at least, so you'd have to admit that, right? And the economy is floating open, and now we have an infrastructure bill that's moving right along at the speed of politics, but probably appears something's going to be passed here soon. So that obviously kind of closes the books on the first half of the year. Exciting stuff. It could have been worse coming out of last year. So uh, I like that part. Now going forward, yes, I think you do have to pay attention to both inflation and taxes. We shall see. We don't have a crystal ball on exactly how it's going to play out. People have been throwing the inflation fears long and strong for some time now. It really hasn't panned out. Some of it was transitory, kind of like the Fed was talking about. But I do think we will see a big COLA increase this year of over probably 4% or so. I do think some things have inflated and will stay there, like the housing market. Working through several folks, working through some refinance stuff. So consider if you want to refinance, you should be able to get under 3 now again. After that was like, oh no, better hurry up and refinance because rates are going up. No, they're not. No, they're not, regardless of what the mainstream media says. But the going in, we have there will be some inflation for sure. I'm not trying to downplay that, but it's some, and it's generally localized, and it's largely in the housing market. Lumber prices have crashed back down to earth, so that's not an issue. Some folks think that the oil prices are going to continue to go up past 70, 3 or wherever it is. I'm not a believer of that camp, but some people do because we're out moving about. I mean, it's an interesting thesis. It doesn't get my capital. And then of course taxes. What's coming with taxes? I don't think we're going to hear anything about taxes until the infrastructure bill has passed, and then once it's passed, then that's when we'll pick up tax talk and look at hard at the implications, which is going to be a challenge. So strap in for that. That can hit the market. We'll see. So, but that's what we'll cover today. On a personal note, so we'll talk to me personally first. I'm here in Vegas, as you can see in the background. We're actually in the sports book at Bally's. If you've ever been back here, it's quite huge and empty in the mornings, which is kind of nice. And the music isn't too loud, so as long as I put these in, I can hear myself talk. But the ate at the Caesars buffet last night, so Allie's having a blast. Her nationals. You compete all year to go to nationals. Nationals starts on Friday for her, so what's that, tomorrow already? So she'll play for 4 days, and then we'll head back home after that. So she's here for the big 4th of July weekend to play volleyball for 8 hours a day. And then on the youngest front, Alexa got her first college coach notification this morning from the club that had reached out. Pepperdine University. I'll take that. Pepperdine University reached out to sent the club a letter and said, please pass this to Alexa and her family, and said, Alexa, we really enjoyed watching you play this weekend, because Alexa's done with nationals. They didn't do that great as a team, but individually she did pretty well. Not as well as she'd hoped, because she's really hard on herself, but she did fine. And there's scouts everywhere. And it's so funny watching, she's 13. Most of the girls are 14 on her team because she plays up a year. But, you see, like when the Texas scout showed up, it shows up in the middle of the match, you can see girls from both sides just like completely shutting down and start making these huge errors that they never make. So it's so funny. But there's scouts everywhere. So that's part of the process, is kind of getting numb to the fact that you can look up and see like a head coach you recognize watching you about ready to serve it into the net, right? So it's kind of fun to watch. And of course, there's a lot of people. We're not, we're very blessed financially. No complaints. But there are some folks out there I know that are kind of all in on their child kind of getting a scholarship, and I totally get that, and I empathize with that. And to watch the parents hold on too tight when they think, of course, this is their one chance, and they think that scouts are going to look at their daughter for 5 seconds and she messes up and they just cross her off the list. That's not how it works at all. They take several looks at the girls, and then they invite folks out. So people are holding on a little too tight, but it's kind of funny to watch the reactions when your child does something they've never done before or haven't done in years, right in front of their future potential future coach. Yeah, it's kind of funny. On a business front, they just closed out the books last night. The Afterburner Financial, which is still Afterburner Financial, still haven't gone through the full name change because evidently that takes what I thought would take days, maybe weeks, now takes weeks, maybe months to change the letters from, same tax ID, same everything. So anyhow, still waiting for Texas to approve my name change. And from there, of course, many of you have asked, and you've heard me talk about, I am switching up some of the structure of the company so I can sell shares out to folks, so I can get other owners involved, not just myself. So anyhow, sharing that out. And also now that I have employees, there's a stock sharing program that I have that kicked off. The first share chopped yesterday out. So anyhow, it's kind of interesting news, but we met projections again. 4% growth rate plus for the month, and I think the goal every month is 2.5%. So anyhow, things are going fantastic. So just want to lead in with that. And as far as our topics today, hey, Luckin Coffee is back. It really is. I will talk to you about what they're doing, and you will probably laugh about how this actually is, good news. But we'll go back through the Luckin saga a little bit by pulling the long-term chart. And it's a great story. I think it has a ton of room to upside. It moved up 22% yesterday. I think it continues on up today, probably another 10, 15%. I don't know. That's maybe in, smoking hopium is what they say. Hopium, like hope and opium. Anyhow, as a big investor, but I have a few shares of this, so I'm vested. But I do think it can run to 20 now. I've been saying 20 since it was under 2, and I think that is a realistic target now. Now we've had some head fakes before, but I'll walk you through that. I'll show you exactly what I'm looking at. And when people are saying, "Hey, man, Steve, loved what you did in Luckin, I want the next Luckin," well, this situation doesn't really exist other than this one time. And I look for these every day. I sit and read all day long and looking for opportunities, and they just don't exist. In the same way that Luckin Coffee, what happened, what they did, what they got busted for, and how they've reacted to it just doesn't happen. So anyhow, let's go cover that. As far as the question of the day, I do owe you this. We're getting more and more into the private equity space, venture capital, limited partnerships, things like that. And I owe you, you should know, you should know because I should tell you that there's what's called a signature document. So when you get a subscription, these documents can be 50 pages long. You should, of course, read them, and there's all kinds of blanks in there. But really, the only thing that they need you to sign, they will take out and they chop out into what's called a signature document, which is not 50 pages, it's 3 pages, and it's just the pages you need to sign. So you print that, sign that, and you're done. Literally can take you 2 minutes. After you do your own due diligence, you may or may not read the 50 pages. I generally don't read the 50 pages because it's legalese, and there's generally a summary up front that covers all of it. So, something to consider. We'll talk about that today. So look kind of long in the opening, got a lot going on. Welcome to July, that sort of thing. With that, if you're catching us on replay, go ahead and please subscribe. Click the notifications bell so you know when this goes live every day. Also, if you want to join us in the room, there's a chat window and a quick Q&A window, which you don't see when you're watching the replay, but you do when you're in the room because it's a webinar. People can ask me questions and interact with me and ask me about stocks and things like that. So it's $25 a month. Reach out through ototnow.com if you're interested. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. All right, welcome back, everyone. You saw in the intro there the shock and awe slide, which reminded me that Secretary Rumsfeld passed away. So, arguably my greatest military accomplishment was flying in shock and awe, dropping the first bomb, and I speak about that regularly. But that was all Rumsfeld's plan. We were basically, the whole shock and awe thing was executing his vision, and largely the Iraq War was executing his vision. When I speak honestly about my assessment of that vision. Anyhow, it was we lived in Rumsfeld's world there for a little while, especially in the military. So, interestingly, remember he was SecDef twice. was sucked up very early, a young age, and then came back again, and obviously a faithful servant to our country over the years. All right. Make sure you have we'll get going here for the brief. Make sure you have your call sign in there for the chat, and the Q&A windows open and set up appropriately. Standard disclaimer applies. Make sure you do your own due diligence before acting upon anything you hear this morning. Full disclaimer information is available at ototnow.com. All right, welcome to July, second half of 2021. We want to grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. We may be focusing more on protecting our money in this half. We really will be talking more defensive topics, is what I anticipate. You know, I've been basically long for like 13 years, you know, coming out of the global financial crisis, with some pivots in there to kind of avoid losses during some of the downturns. But for the most part, it's take the spigot, turn it wide open, and, you know, and take the ride, right? In technology, which has paid off unbelievably. And so I plan to continue to do that. However, I do want to offset some of the downside moves we may see due to inflation and taxes. But today specifically, we're talking about growing our money through Luckin Coffee. Can you buy in here? You could absolutely buy in here. If the thesis is true, and you remember when you go and you invest in something, you pick a thesis. You know, you figure, why am I invested in this? If you can't explain it in 30 seconds, then you probably shouldn't. I mean, you don't have to explain it because you're buying it for yourself. But when I buy it for, you know, if I put somebody in a Luckin Coffee, you know, I say, well, this is a, you know, basically a failed Chinese coffee company. It was the Starbucks of China, but they sped all over they, you know, cooked their books, if you will, and they're still trying to survive that. And the stock went from 50 down to below $1 intraday. And now it's on its way back. The middle class over there is 6 times that of the U.S. Coffee is a highly addictive product, and if you've been to their website or the app, they sell trinkets and things which are very common in the retail culture over, you know, overseas. So I think the profit margins are huge. I think it's going to come rip-roaring higher, and it did yesterday, the 10 to 22%. So we'll pull the chart. We'll talk about more of that. We talked about signature packets earlier. We'll get back to that once we're done. All right, flow, long, short, open, short, long. We'll do a market review, headline review. We'll look at Luckin against a 5-letter ticker because it was delisted. It used to be LK, now it's LKNCY. So we can't use FinViz because FinViz doesn't deal with delisted companies or unlisted or not listed yet companies. So we have to go to Yahoo Finance. So a little bit of a different chart for us to look at today. For the short-term trades, let me hit the chat again real quick with what we have. Basically a few longs, including Luckin. No shorts today. I don't know that the market's going to be necessarily long today, but certainly the only stories that are setting up for today are long. Contingencies and academic resources are standard. All right, let's go over to TD Ameritrade real quick. Here's how we'll be set up. We'll have XPEV as our primary long. I have Luckin in there now just to kind of show you that chart. I'm going to switch that up here in a minute. All right, you can see our long term. This is the SPY. This is a 9-month chart, basically marching higher ever since the election, if you will. And we'll see. I'm not calling any epic sell-off or anything, but I think there's going to be some turbulence in the market, largely due to some, you know, headline turbulence, if nothing else. So when you focus in on the 5-day, again, pretty much straight up on the 5-day for the S&P 500. All right, let's go back to CNBC. You can see the futures here real quick. Got a little long-winded in the open, so we're not going to review everything. But basically, you know, NASDAQ's in the red. Everything else is a little bit in the green. All right, as far as Luckin Coffee specifically, here is the chart. This is a max chart, so it goes back to May 13th of 2019, where they got things were going great. They were open, and they had a bigger, faster opening. Store opening rate than Starbucks did in the U.S. So that's what got everybody interested. Their sales were through the roof. The only problem was none of it was true. That's not good. So yeah, none of it was true. The stock ran up to over 50. Let's see if I can find the high here. Yeah, so 50.02 was the close, but it went above that intraday. And then it started running into the, hey, maybe they weren't telling the truth, and the thing crashed all the way down to below $5, went down to, you see $1.39 as the closing print here, but it actually was below $1 for a while. I remember 98 cents. So what was my story? I picked it up somewhere in here. I can't remember exactly when. I rode it higher. We took some profits for mostly we're letting this thing ride because it was the Starbucks of China. Eventually, like I believed in it until it went down to about half. So I took about a 50% loss from its high all the way, on the way down and got out. It's one of those just in time, even though I lost 50%, it was kind of like, thank goodness I did because it did literally almost go to zero. Started buying back in here because I was like, you talk about asymmetric risk or asymmetric upside. You've got a stock that's down below $2. And I looked yesterday at all of my holdings together, the average cost basis, I'm sitting at 202. And I went and I saw one client was actually below $2. I did not look at all the clients that I have and see what the entry points, but right around $2 for most. So when you're talking, 500%, 600% for that particular client on the move up, but it's been a long pain train. It was accumulating here. This was over a year ago, and then now it's made up that big move yesterday. So looking at specifically at what happened yesterday, what's kind of scary about this, and then we'll get to the market open, is they went back. The big announcement yesterday was simply that they have now, and if you've done any accounting or run your own business, you know how painful this is. They had to go back in time and basically redo their 2019 financials. That's all they did. That's what caused the move up. And that's why I think they're just totally getting unscrewed from what they did to themselves. But they're on the right path. And that's the important for investing is getting on the right path. And they certainly are, but there's, and this is still all unaudited. So there will be a time when an auditor comes in and verifies it, and then the stock screams higher from there. So that's my take anyway. That's why I'm not selling. Sound like a Reddit guy, but I'm not. All right, let's go over and get set up for the market open, which is right now. All right, we're watching XPEV long. I'm going to switch Luckin to a 1 minute chart and do a quick open here. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time On Target play of the day. The market just opened a few seconds ago. We've got three charts in front of you. You've got the S&P 500 over here on a 1 minute chart. We're looking at longs today. We don't have any shorts, just longs. XPEV to me is the most compelling long. So you can see here, we'll keep an eye on that. You need about a 50-cent stop. And then Luckin yesterday had this 22% move up, which I think has the potential to continue. We also have, see if it's open yet. There it is. We also have a couple others out there. XPEV is the one we're watching. 600 announced 600% year over year increase in deliveries. That's why I like this. So to get in on this, we should be getting in on it now. So 46.10, 50 cents, 46.60. Gosh, I want to take it here. It's aggressive. I need it back down in the 46.60 range. Otherwise, the math does not work. All right, over on and Luckin. So I can't really take it here. I need it to come in. If you want to take some Luckin long, you can. All right, we're back in that range. So any move higher here, and we're going to take it. Good. Now we'll have another opportunity. 46.60 going higher with a 46.10 stop to the downside. So again, 46.60, we're back. We're going to start this trade. There, jump through the 46.60, so you may have to adjust your, there you go. You can get it right back now at the same point. So 46.10 is the low of the day. So we've covered the low. I'm sorry, 46.15 is the low of the day. 46.10 is our exit. So remember, you want to cover that low of the day. Here's an arrow for you to remember that we're going long. You can still take it here in this range anywhere around the 46.60. So what do we need this thing to do? Let's back out a little bit if we can. Luckin moving higher like that. Trying to get this to where I can draw the other. Let's put a, we'll go side by side here. XPEV. All right, 46.60. We need 47.10. I still can't get there on that screen, so I won't worry about it. But we'll pull up Luckin. You could take long as a continuation. It's more of an investment, not necessarily a trade. ALZN was up earlier on Alzheimer's, announcing that they're starting human trials. I don't necessarily know what ALZ I mean, obviously they do Alzheimer's, but I don't know specifically like what they do. But starting trials there, you can see it was up early as high as 1087. It's kind of not moving. It's pretty low volume this morning, so I'd let that go. All right, let's see. RSLS is another name we can take a look at. I put in the chat earlier. Again, they are up on increased revenue in their weight loss solutions business, but not really moving. So I think we're in the best one here. 47.10 is the first R point that we're looking at, and then a 50-cent stop or exit is 48.10. So may have to be patient. It's going to have to be up 9% or so to be able to get us out at that 48.10 mark. So to recap, entered at 46.6, covered the low of the day down to 46.10, and again we're looking at all the way up at 48.10, which is again a buck higher from here before we're leaving. Until then, I am not selling. All right, don't like the RSLS story, so let's go back and check on Luckin Coffee, see if it is indeed continuing. Again, 20% move yesterday. Not really, just up 1%. I would like to see it, if this were going to continue and get above 12. So if you get in here and trade this all, you're looking at probably a 10 to 15 cent stop. Again, it's near the low of the day. A lot of congestion there. No, it's low volume congestion. But, that was kind of the closing range for it yesterday. So you'd really probably want to cover all the way down to 11.10. So adjust your math accordingly. All right, so we're in the XPEV trade. That's all I'm going to look at as far as the trading. Let's go over to see what's going on in long-term investings. All right, Smith & Wesson up 8.5%. DD bounced off of yesterday, so let's pull the DD chart. It's only 24 hours old or not even. So see, well, that's not true. Oh, that is true. That's one day. I was like confused there for a second. So DD, it opened at 1650, which made me mad. I had everything set at 16. Some people got it at the open. Some people got it at 16. I adjusted everybody up here so they got their share. So it's really what I would call a terrible entry. We're above 16 across the book for almost everybody except for a few that called me later and said they wanted to buy in at a lower point. That took a pass on it earlier. So anyhow, you saw this sell off. It's basically starting its way back up from there. I'm not worried about this. If you buy into an IPO, and this is why, I saw an article by Buffett and Munger saying, here's why people shouldn't be in individual stocks. Honestly, it's because they can't handle it. It'll be an emotional event. They outthink themselves. They second guess themselves. It's like, look, it's the Uber of China. You buy in. You don't really care if it's at 14 today or 19 today. I mean, it shouldn't affect your day. It shouldn't, it's like getting mad in traffic. If you buy into the thesis of this is the, major ride sharing in not only China, but it's international, it's in 14 different countries. It's like, just sit back and wait and you will be rewarded, right? Things struggle sometimes right out of the gate. So let it find itself and go higher. If you want to add more, add more. If you didn't get enough, that sort of thing. But you don't turn around, buy it, and then freak out and sell it, right? And if you did, then all that tells you is that you just bought too much. Don't buy as much, sort of thing. So anyhow, Smith & Wesson, didn't see a headline there, but obviously something's going on. I have a little bit of that in the book. A few other things. Wind's recovering. I'm going to go out to the Venetian in the wind today to take Allie to take some pictures out there. So I'll try to throw him some dollars while I'm there. We'll probably eat dinner or something. All right, downside, what do we have? Apple Call is down. Click, VIP Shop, not Quick Stream, and VIP Shop. TQLB, PLTR is down. Interesting. I'll have to take a look at that. It had popped up pretty high the other day, I think like 8% or so. All right, not really any other huge names there on the downside. So DD is probably going to end up above 10% today. That's what I would imagine is going to go on there. All right, let's check back on our trade real quick. All right, trade's doing fine. Again, we're at the 1R point and poised to go higher. I am really not worried at all about our exit point. So just to the downside. So the market would have to roll over hard today to drag this thing down off of such a good story. And again, 600% year-over-year increase in deliveries. So even though it's struggling to go higher here in 47 and change range. Be patient. There will be profit taking here, and then it can move higher. So when it does, it might even stripe higher like these. You just run out of people selling, and then it just screams higher. So we'll check back on that here in a second. Let's go back to Google Chrome real quick and look at subscription agreements. So here's what I was talking about in the open. I saw a couple of folks pop back in. So grab a drink here real quick. Okay, so when you enter into these partnerships, they send you a subscription document, and literally it's like 50 pages of stuff that is almost all legal, right? So there's a summary up front, kind of gets you the gist of what's going on, and then there is signature areas throughout the document. So what you don't want to do is plow through the subscription document. So generally what they send you is, and in this case with Moonshots Capital, there were 4 different documents, and you kind of review the first 3, but what you're looking for is the signature signature package, because the signature package now takes all out of all of those other documents. It shrinks it down to simply just the pages you need to sign. So literally hit print on the signature package, fill that out, scan it back, send it to whoever's running quarterback on it, and you're done. You don't have to worry about any of the other stuff that's buried in that subscription document. They take those pages, slide them into the subscription document, rescan it, and then upload it into your portal, so you have that full subscription documents there. In my case, when auditors come in, they're like, show me where you keep the subscription agreements. And I log into the portal, and I say, here are the clients I have involved in this particular investment. Here's the subscription agreement that each of them have. So I don't even maintain it. They maintain it on the portal. So it's pretty slick. But that's what that is. And again, that's how you get into the limited partnership. You stay in it. Moonshots, I know we're they sent out a very hyperbolic, I think that's the word, hyperbolic. They used hyperbole to get everybody excited yesterday. I might have to do the same thing. I'm not nearly as good at this. When I go to sell shares of the company, though, I am going to have to, not only demonstrate to folks that this is a very smart financial thing to do, but also need to, use some sales tactics to build the hype there as well. But anyhow, they sent out a big thing saying that they oversubscribed the capital, which they have. They they brought in more than they were expecting, and now's the chance to plus it up one last time, right? So anyhow, they extended today, and that's largely a paperwork thing. So I know a lot of folks were struggling with getting some of the paperwork in. So anyhow, that's where we stand with Moonshots Capital. It is off to the races, and I do expect the capital call pretty quick. All right, let's get rid of this and check on our trade again, see if it did indeed stripe up like I said it was going to. And it has. So 47.10, 47.6 is our second R. And then our exit point is up here at 48.10 for our 3R trade. See if it gets there while I'm talking. I'm going to go ahead and recap it, and then I'll when I publish it, I'll just publish the exact amount. It's going to hit it while I'm talking. Okay, so so again, pre-market, the thing we looked at is 46.60 is where we got the entry point. Remember, it ran higher than that 46.60, which was kind of like, oh crap, I might have missed it, and I said I needed it to come down. Well, here's why you needed it to come down, right? Because if it didn't come down and we took it at a higher point, our math is jacked and we can't get to that 3R point. So we covered the low of the day, which was 46.15 down here, 46.10. I said earlier we wanted a 50-cent stop. So we're able to get in at 46.60, which gives us 1R to 47.10, 2 R's to 47.60. And again, our exit point is up here at 48.10, which I do think it hits, even though it's not going to cooperate and hit while I'm talking. But when you look at the math, remember it opened down here at the up 4% point. Now it's up at 7-8%. So that's really what you're doing when I say you need 50 cents. Well, 50 cents is a percent, right? So that's why I picked that R unit. And then I need to basically either, I lose my investment if it goes down 1%, or I'm holding it out for that 3%. So again, that's the math that's involved in that. Luckin in the red, selling off. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close out the room for the day. If when this hits, I'll go ahead and do a final recap of that trade. with that, we'll see you guys back tomorrow, and you have a good one. Bye.